Hi everybody, this is Makeup Dr. Cherie, and I know I haven't posted any videos in a long time. I'm back! I'm super excited, a little nervous, so I have a little friend here with me, Birdie. Actually, I haven't named him. It's just something I wore in my hair at Christmas time, and he was just hanging out, and I was like, you want to join me for this video? And he was like, sure, cool. I was like, yay, I got some help. Some moral support on my shoulder. These are two purposes, also to help keep my tank top strap up. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, I'm going to start out with something that I gave away at Planet Comicon in mid-October, and that is it's like a sample latex wound and bruise kit. So there's some general instructions here and QRC codes to scan that will take you to a page that gives instructions on how to use it. And then inside the kit, I don't know if you can see that there, there's a bottle of blood. I'll actually hold up the kit pieces here. There's a bottle of blood and a tray with some bruise wheel colors in there. We have some Q-tips and some mini sponges. And of course, depending on which one, you get different types of latex wounds in there. The only thing that it does not include is the powder, adhesive, and some kind of flesh tone color to blend it into your own skin. Most people have some kind of old foundation laying around that they can use. So that's a lot of fun. I know a lot of people enjoy getting that. So I'm just doing a little instructional on how to use it. So let's get started. I know I'm a little more glammed up than usual today. So we're going to pick out the piece. There's usually one piece in there, and I'm not sure. We'll give this piece a try. I guess that'll be fun. And so usually I leave the edges kind of tattered like this. So when you get it, you can just kind of pull off. You don't want to pull off the edges too close. You want to keep them thin, and you want to keep rough edges. So you don't want it uneven. And that is a trick of the eye. If you have like an even straight eye line, your eye's going to be drawn directly to it. But if you have a broken up line, it'll draw less attention, and then you're more likely to not notice it. So what I like to do is I'll tear off a little bit in an uneven way around the latex piece. And so we have a little bit here. So this is the piece I want to use. I want to place it right across here. I do have a little bit of makeup on, so I'm going to take a second and take that off, and then we'll get started. Alright, so I took about as much makeup off as I could on my cheek. I just used a little bit of witch hazel and a little bit of alcohol. So I don't want to have any oils on there as well. And I'm going to use a little bit of liquid latex. I use a makeup palette when I'm working to place stuff on. You can use a piece of wax paper. You can place your stuff in a little bit of in a little mini cup. If you've got these little guys here, use that. But I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to use one of the Q-tips, and I'm going to apply the latex to the back of the piece. So I'm just taking this and I'm going over the back of the piece here. And this just makes for a really quick application. You can also use spirit gum. Yeah, I mean, you can use Prozade if you want to and Telesys, but those are way more expensive. And so this is inexpensive and easy to use. And then normally, if I'm applying any prosthetic, I would usually double tack. So I'll put it on here and let it get tacky. This technique is also really good when you're doing pieces that you want to stay for a long time. But I would glue. Well, you know what? We're not going to get into that now. We're just going to have fun with this little piece, and we'll have another video that goes into double tacking a little bit more. And you can just let me know in the notes, in the comments, if you guys are interested in hearing about that. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to lay the two pieces together. I don't know if I have it in the direction I want it to go, but we're gonna, there's really no wrong or right direction here. I'm just gonna tack that down So I'm just placing it down. It already appears pretty secure. I want to rip that little piece off there. If I see anything that I don't like, I'll take off the edges. I'm just patting that down. Then I am taking a second to pour out a little bit of, what I like to do is palette, and I'll show you what I did. I just dropped like a small amount of latex on my palette, so I'm not dipping directly into here, and that's for sanitation purposes. Even though I may be the only person using this, I still don't want to cause any contamination, and I want to keep my products clean. Especially if it's something that, even if multiple people aren't going to use it, still try to keep your products clean. So I'm looking at another mirror down below. I apologize if the view gets obscured. I'm just going around the edge with a little bit of latex and the Q-tip. And I'm just doing this to kind of blend the edge together, so I don't have that hard edge. So we built up a little edge here, and that's kind of blended in. I'm sort of feathering off the latex onto the rest of the skin. So I don't know if you noticed that. What I'm doing right there is I'm just dragging just a tiny bit. Special effects makeup artists are always about the edges. That's like the first thing we look for in a movie. Or at least maybe it's just me. I don't know. That's what I look at in movies. Is like, oh my god, I can see the edge. I can see the edge. I can see the edge. And I know how hard it is to cover the edges. I know that sometimes it's not within the makeup artist's control because they didn't have enough time to apply it. I probably shouldn't be moving around too much while this is drying. That they may not have had enough time to apply it, or that the actor could have been drinking alcohol, which releases the piece too. So there's a lot of things that go into that. But that is something that I always look at. And I'm always like telling my sister, like, I can totally see the edge. Oh my god. It can be, but it's hard because of the way the cameras are. They pick up every little detail. But a lot of the work I see in the movies is really amazing and magnificent. It's nothing against the makeup artists, because sometimes they don't give you enough time to get your job done. But I digress. So let's pause while that's drying. Dusty fan. Dusty fan. Okay. I'll be back later. Alright. Piece is dry. And I learned a lesson about turning on fans that have been sitting for a long time that have a lot of dust on them. Dusty fan, dusty fan. So, we are going to take a little bit of flesh tone foundation. Any cream color will work though. And I just have an old one here. And I'm going to take a little bit of my Q-tip here. And start going around it to kind of blend it in. Blend it in, blend it in. Ooh la la, blend it in. Now you can also take your little piece of baby sponge. Little baby sponge. And again, I have my palette that I'm working on. I get a little more coverage with the baby sponge. And for something like this, it does not have to be anything fancy. This is just a basic cream foundation. This is an older one that I have from a Grafton kit, but I mean, if you just want to use like Revlon, I mean, whatever is cheapest, especially if it's going to be something that you're just doing for fun like this. I wouldn't use anything really expensive. You can see you've got... Now, the one thing about latex pieces is you do see the edges some. But we'll talk about some fun ways to cover that up too. So, I've got my foundation color over that. You can see that. I'm not really worrying a whole lot about the inside. And hey, so I just took a second there and was cleaning off stuff. I don't know if you noticed that I use a makeup spatula to divvy out my products. However, you don't have to have that. If you have a popsicle stick, you can do the same thing. So, we have done the color to blend it into our skin tone. And then we'll go in with some other colors. Now, you could go in and add a little bit more brown on the inside, but we're not going to worry about that too much. I am going to take the Q-tip and a little piece here. And remember, a little bit of this goes a long way. And you can even thin it out a little bit with some alcohol. And I'm going to go in, I'm just using the darker color here. So you can do this with the Q-tip. And what I'm doing is just taking, because there's just a small amount on here, I'm just kind of going in there, getting just a tiny bit on the Q-tip. And then going in here and adding some darkness where I can. Now, if you have some inexpensive brushes that you can get for $4 or $5 at, and I'm not saying for one brush, I'm talking about like for a whole pack of brushes at Michael's or even Walmart, you can go in and add some color there too. You can also thin this out with a little bit of alcohol. I just sprayed on the whole thing. As you can see here, kind of thins it out and makes it a little bit washier. And a little bit goes a long way, like I said. And you see that makes it easier to put in. But if you don't have a brush, it's not a big deal. You can still make it wash it with alcohol. This is just 91% alcohol I have in there. And I'm going through with, again, the darker shade right here. You see that? I thinned it with a little bit of alcohol. I'm just using a small amount on here. And so what I like to do is go through with the darker shade on the inside because I feel like that helps you give you a little bit more depth. So I'm just going to go in with the Q-tip. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. And again, there's still quite a bit left on there. I am just smishing out just a tiny bit. You can use 70% alcohol with this. I just keep 91% in my kit because that's what I use with alcohol activated paints, and 70% won't activate it. So rather than trying to figure out, is this bottle 70% or is it 91%? Is it 99%? If everything is the same, I don't have to worry about it. All right, so let's get to the blood. Let's get to the fun stuff. Give me just a second. All right, my little bottle of blood rolled away from me. These are fun because it has like a little seal here, so when you open it up, it should crack open. Voila! And it's in a little squeeze. Main squeeze. So if I wanted to, I could just squeeze it directly onto there. Right now, if you don't have a palette, you know what? You can just use the back of your hand. My hand is always really dry because I'm always cleaning stuff with alcohol. And you can either apply this with your Q-tip. And like I said, I am doing double duty on some things. Or you can apply it with your fingers. And you can see how that is really visceral though. Let's just try squirting some on now. I'm starting at the tip of the wound. And I'm just kind of squeezing it very gently and bringing it down. Now I'm just going to take my fingernail and kind of guide the blood around in the wound. You could just see here, I'm just kind of guiding that blood around the room. And you can see this blood goes a long way too. I just put a little bit in there. I'm just kind of guiding this blood around. So I mean, honestly, I didn't even really have to put the darker color in there. I just like giving it a little bit more texture. You see this wound comes up a little bit. I'm using my pinky fingernail. You can use your nail like that. You can use a popsicle stick to drag it out. You can use your palette knife to drag it out. But I'm just dragging it out right there. And I'm going to let it drip a little bit more too. So I like really that a lot. If you have more colors, you can go ahead and I'm going to darken this up just a little bit around here. I'm going to use my, and try not to get in the way of, this is, it's so funny because it's different doing this on yourself. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put a little bit of blood, just putting it on the back of my hand here. Just a little drop, and this is dripping down already, which is usually why I think I put the blood on last. But we're just having some fun with this, and I'm just gonna spread this around here because it's like, ugh, my poor face. Now, if you have a stipple sponge, that does a really good job because it's got more holes in it. It's very airy, and I'll show you a stipple sponge in a few minutes. But we're just gonna do with what we have in the kit. And voila. Now you can also use some of the other colors too. If you want to add a little bit of bruisiness around it, you can use the light yellow color. And I'm just dabbing on the light yellow color. What do you think, Birdie? And I'm just gonna go, I like to use that on the edge here, because I feel like a little bit of yellow helps it pop. And again, I haven't hardly used, I mean, there's so much more color I can do something else with if I want to. So I'm just going on, and I'm going on the edge here. And it's not even super noticeable, but the edge of any wound like that would be a little bit lighter, and you've got a little bit more distress there. So I think that's pretty much about it. So that's basically using just the products that are in the kit. I added, you know what, I didn't even powder this, which I could have after the foundation. This is what happens when you start recording for the first time. So I basically just put on, used regular liquid latex to apply this, and colored it. You can use any foundation to color, and you can add a little dark color in the inside. Here you can see that I did not. I mean, I did a little bit, but I was like, meh, let's just go in and put some blood. And as you can see, I still have colors left and blood left. If you get any kind of alcohol, I'm just going to drip a little bit more blood in there just for the fun of it. You know, if you have thicker blood, you can add that to there. But this is just something really simple and easy that you can do with the kit. And like I said, you still have stuff left over to play with. And I only used, it came with 2 sponges. I broke one in half. I can't even hold this, and I'm getting the sponge dirty. I broke one in half. This one I tore in half, and I just used this sponge, so I've got these 2 other sponges I can still use. So here is my bloody makeup. All right. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments and everything. And if you have one of these kits, please apply it and send me a picture. Post it on my Facebook page. There's a group page. Yes, everybody. I'm going to tell you about, well, hold on. Anyways, thanks so much for joining me. This is Makeup Dr. Cherie, and Here's, oh my God, this is bad. I don't know how to end this. Thanks very much for joining me. My name is Makeup Dr. Sheree. Bye.